Thank you, everybody, for joining us back here at Nubeva's channel. Sitting here once again with Randy. And Randy, it's been a little bit. How have you been?
Oh, excellent. Back in the States for well over a month now. Weather's significantly better, thank God.
Good, good. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. So people were asking before previously when you guys had first launched your decryption for ransomware, if you could decrypt ransomware for companies or entities that had not previously onboarded Nubeva.
Yes, it's interesting because people keep asking us that. In fact, even after we said at first we said you must have the sensor for us to actually help you with the decryption. A lot of people, a lot of companies who were desperate still reached out to us.
Mhm.
And interestingly enough, we started realizing, wait a minute, we can actually decrypt this. This is actually stunning to us because being present and getting the keys, symmetric keys, and not being present and being able to still decrypt it is night and day technology. It's very, very different technology. We just never thought we could do that. And it turned out that in certain cases, not in all cases, we can't actually do that, which is quite surprising. And as you can imagine, selling something in preparation of a ransomware event versus being there when they actually got hit by a ransom and they're desperately asking anybody to help them is very different. The latter is far easier to sell, obviously.
Yeah, that brings up a really good point. Previously, it was you guys having to do a lot of the legwork to try to get people, which people are inherently reactive creatures. A lot of people aren't proactive, especially in any sort of realm of cybersecurity or anything like that.
Right.
People are, unfortunately don't usually get on things in time. But so now this essentially opens up the market to you guys entirely to the people when they need this or when they are like, hey guys, we'll take anything that helps in the situation, correct?
Right. And it isn't just that. Previously, for example, if a company or an end user, end company, wasn't necessarily everybody's interested in what we do. There's no situation where we walk in and somebody says, this is not something I'll ever need.
Mhm.
That's never happened before. Okay. So they all talk about, well, is this something I need today? Okay. In
Yeah.
this particular case, we have companies that are desperate and they need some solution. Obviously, they need that yesterday in that particular case, and we help them. And that allows us to engage whoever IR firms they were engaging to help them. And so in that particular case, not only can we engage end users and companies much quicker when they actually need us, the pain points much sharper, but at the same time, the IR firms that help them in turn helps want to engage with us, right? So in other words, we can help them after fact,
Mhm.
and clearly we have something a leave behind for someone to then say, okay, you really need this for the next time that you get hit, which a lot of 50 to 60% of people get re-hit these days.
Yeah, I heard that, especially if they pay, right? That's kind of how
Right.
it goes. Once you pay,
Yeah.
now they know you're someone who pays, and unfortunately, yeah, you're added to the short list there. And speaking of that, Randy, kind of moving into our next point here, unfortunately, a lot of people are still choosing to pay the ransom in a lot of these situations.
It is stunning to us. Even in the cases where we went in after the fact, helped them recover the files, they still end up paying. And a lot of that has to do with the way insurance is actually set up in the United States, especially in the United States, actually. So at some point, a customer may decide, wait a minute, I pay for this, I got all my files back, but you know what? I want everything else to be cleaned up and done, right? Every single system still needs to be reset, reimaged, uh, restarted. Frequently, they'll actually buy new laptops and new servers just because reinstalling them takes much longer. Okay,
Yeah.
and so in that particular case, a company may decide to say, "Hey, I don't have the IT people to do this. I'll just have insurance pay them for the whole thing, anyways." And they end up paying the ransom also, which is really stunning to us. So we get paid in the ransomware. The ransom folks get paid too. It's just
Wow.
from a logic standpoint, I hate to see that. I absolutely hate to see that. So
Yeah, so curious. So what's the solutions there? Like what can be done to kind of stop that from happening, which sounds like a crazy scenario that's from left field.
yes. So well, if I think a few months back we did a recording where you were asking me what is a good indicator business taking off, right? And we clearly then said, okay, you got ours. Somebody pays us for the sensors, great, fantastic. However, we need them to actually get hit by ransomware.
Mhm.
Well, now clearly we have an additional contingency to that. We help them on the ransomware and they don't pay ransom, right? If they end up paying ransom, at the end of the day, how much were we helpful for? It's hard. It's very, very debatable, even if we are the ones who got them all the files back. But if they pay the ransom, so from an end goal standpoint, I don't feel we were successful. Now, where that ends is a number of different countries and specifically states in the United States, both Florida and North Carolina, in the last month, finally passed legislation to actually disallow the payment of ransom. So they cannot pay ransom for ransomware, and they cannot even negotiate. And those are not just state and local entities, but also any company that is taking in taxpayers' money from that state.
Yeah.
So in those cases, we're beginning to see much quicker adoption in states that have enacted that. Now, obviously, it just happened, and again, we never felt we needed that. I mean, logically, we would think if we can help somebody not have to pay the ransom, they wouldn't pay it. But the way insurance is set up, they end up just paying it. So,
Yeah, never apply logic to bureaucratic issues
yes.
like that. That makes things very difficult. But it does sound like you said, with this legislation passing, I guess people's hands will be tied, no pun intended, with the ransom side of things. But they're going to have to find other solutions, which do exist now. There's, I don't want to say there's virtually no situation, but it doesn't make sense to pay the ransom anymore.
Correct. Correct. It
But
makes
Randy,
absolutely no sense. Yep.
but Randy, thank you for coming on and giving updates. Is there anything else you want people to know before we go today?
Yes, one other thing I should have put this out earlier. As everybody knows, we are using a consulting firm with a consulting CFO that has helped us even from the beginning of the company since we actually listed. And we had decided, given that the way inflation is going and costs are going, we've decided from a board standpoint to issue 100,000 options for that company and for her specifically. And so we just did that. That actually got announced, I believe, right before this recording is done, or right before this recording's got to go out. So I apologize for that. I should have gotten a recording out before that. So
no worries, Randy. Well, thank you again for coming on and sharing the updates. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let us know your guys' thoughts about this stuff. It's definitely interesting to hear about how some of those ransom situations were playing out. So let us know your thoughts, everybody. Thank you for watching. And Randy, have a wonderful day.
great. Thank you.